I want to tell you, as I have told many other meetings before, that we respect you, we admire you, and above all, we love you.
It takes a strong person to stand up for themselves.
You're broken down and tired.
It takes an even stronger person to stand up for others.
And you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains.
Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918 in Mvezo, South Africa. Until the date of December 5, 2013, Mandela took extreme measures to make sure everyone had equal rights and took a stand against anything that he didn't believe in. Nelson Mandela's father was the chief of the Dembe tribe in their South African village. Mandela's father was a leader, and he looked up to him as the man he wanted to be. Mandela was the first in his family to receive an education. He studied at the University of Witwatersrand and majored in law. This is where he began his career of creating a movement against racial discrimination. Nelson Mandela impacted many citizens as he led the African National Congress. The African National Congress, also known as the ANC, was a national liberation movement formed to unite African people and lead the way to change. Civil rights leader Mahatma Gandhi also had a campaign called Satyagraha. This was the idea of fighting non-violent resistance, fighting with peace, started by Gandhi. Gandhi used Satyagraha in the Indian independence movement and also during his earlier struggles in South Africa. His campaign inspired the formation of the ANC and helped strengthen Mandela's belief in human equality and taking a stand. It is true that there's a direct correlation between Gandhi's campaign and the anti-apartheid movement that Mandela led. Both anti-discriminatory groups pushed opposition of the apartheid system. The apartheid was the system of racial segregation of black Africans in South Africa under the rule of white minority. This law deprived black South Africans of not only virtually all of their rights, but also of the power to protest under the conditions which they are required to live and work. As apartheid laws grew stricter, more opposition lashed against the system. Eventually, the South African government banned all groups going against the apartheid system. The ANC, which is a large group that went against the apartheid system, began operating underground against the law. Nelson Mandela was a leader within this group. However, during this time of much segregation, Nelson Mandela never sat down and constantly took a stand to fight against what he believed in. Mandela co-founded and became the leader of a new armed wing of the ANC called the MK. Under Mandela's leadership, the MK launched a sabotage campaign against the government.
A true leader who led the movement to end apartheid in South Africa, someone who served in prison. He served in prison 27 years to stand his ground for organizing to stop apartheid.
On August 5, 1962, Nelson Mandela was sentenced to 5 years in prison for inciting a workers' strike in 1961. 1 year later, in July of 1963, the South African government launched a raid on the Liliesleaf farm in Rivonia, which had been used as a hideout for the ANC. During this raid, they arrested 19 ANC leaders and charged 11 leaders, including Mandela, with crimes under the 1962 Sabotage Act. The Sabotage Act was a law that increased the president's power to declare an organization unlawful and add further restrictions to the banning order. It made provision for a minimum sentence of 5 years and a maximum sentence of death. At the Rivonia trial, Mandela did not take the witness stand. As per usual, he stood up to make a long statement explaining the history and motives of the ANC and other groups going against the apartheid. He also admitted to many of the charges against him and defending his use of violence. On the notorious Robben Island, Mandela lived in an extremely tiny cell and barely received any food. Prisoners at Robben Island went through inhumane punishments. He performed hard labor all day. However, although he was stuck in a prison, he still managed to become the leader. He encouraged all of his fellow inmates to protest harsh treatment through nonviolence resistance. He continuously influenced others even behind bars. He somehow managed to receive a bachelor's degree from the University of London while in confinement and was an inspiration to everyone around him. He also still served as a leader of the anti-apartheid movement from prison. Mandela was only able to see his wife Whitney and his 2 daughters once every 6 months. In 1980, Oliver Tambo, president of the ANC for 24 years, created a Free Nelson Mandela campaign that made the jailed leader a household name and caused growing international commotion against South Africa's racism.
Just like a waving flag.
As more people got involved and pressure began to increase on the government, they decided to offer him his freedom in exchange for several political compromises, but he rejected this deal and wanted to prove to everyone that he would stand strong until he got what he wanted. 2 years later, he was moved to Paulsmoor Prison on the mainland. 8 years later, he was taken out of prison and placed under house arrest at a minimum security correctional facility. 1 year later, in 1990, a new president of South Africa was elected. His name was Frederick Willem de Klerk, also known as F.W. de Klerk. This man changed South Africa. On February 2, 1990, de Klerk lifted the ban of the ANC and demanded a non-racist South Africa. On February 11th of 1990, President F.W. de Klerk ordered Nelson Mandela's release. As soon as Mandela received his freedom, he led the ANC with the governing National Party and other anti-apartheid groups to end the apartheid and establish a diverse government. In December of 1993, Mandela and de Klerk earned a Nobel Peace Prize. This is yet another accomplishment for Mandela and another inspiration for the people to take a stand and fight for their own rights. Soon enough, there was a multiracial government election in South Africa. On April 26, 1994, more than 22 million South Africans turned out to vote in this election. The majority of these 22 million voted in the ANC to lead the country of South Africa, and on May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela made history. He was sworn as the first black president of South Africa, with F.W. de Klerk as his first deputy.
Commission, and the true impact of a man like him is that he fought for what he believed in, stayed true to his principles, and never gave up, and when the odds were very much against him, to try to end apartheid in South Africa, which he did.
As Nelson Mandela served as president, he began to introduce many social and economic organizations and programs created to improve the lives of the black population of South Africa. He established a strong central government, including all races. He began to build a new international image of a united South Africa. Mandela served as a quintessential role model of a civil rights leader and a hero who became revered worldwide.
Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. I thank you.
Call me freedom, just like a waving flag, and then it goes back, and then it goes back.